Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are reacting to NF. How could you leave us? This was by pretty frequent demand to one react to NF, and I've gotten a lot of requests to react to this song specifically. So this will be both of our first times. And yeah, let's get into this.
How could you leave so unexpected? We waited for you, but you just left us. We needed you, I needed you. Yo, I don't know what it's like to be addicted to pills, but I do know what it's like to be a witness to kills. Mama told me she loved me, I'm thinking this isn't real. I think of you when I get a whiff of that cigarette smell, yeah. Welcome to the bottom of hell. They say pain is a prison, let me out of my cell. You say you proud of me, but you don't know me that well. Sit in my room, tears running down my face, and I yell into my pillowcases. Say you coming to get us, then call a minute later just to tell us you're not. I'm humiliated. I'm in a room with a parent that I don't barely know. Some lady in the corner watching us while she's taking notes. I don't get it, mom. Don't you wanna watch your babies grow? I guess pills are more important. All you have to say is no, but you won't do it, will you? You gon' keep popping till them pills kill you. I know you're gone, but I can still feel you.
Uh, well, obviously, some addiction problems with the mom in this particular case. They're not
Hmm.
mentioning the dad, but the mother, and that's pretty tough. It's tough. I'll say on a personal note, I raised myself for a lot of years I put myself through high school, and I know all about being homeless as a child, and I made a successful business because of those experiences. As I just didn't want to raise my children when I had them in a condition like that. And I got to tell you,
Hmm.
it's a brutal thing feeling alone. And obviously, he's exercising that opinion to us. And when somebody tells you they love you, but they trade you for drugs or alcohol or whatever it happens to be, and
Right.
because that's what they're doing is they're making a choice, and it's a terribly poor choice, and that longing to be with your parent uh, is, I mean, that's a natural longing,
Hmm.
is to be with your parent, and it's painful, and unfortunately, is kids can go the same way as the parent by their example if they're
Yeah.
not careful. Uh, for me, it scared me enough. I knew I didn't want to go that way, and but it's tough, and my heart breaks for it. It sounds like I don't know NF, and I don't know his backstory, if this is a personal story to him, but it kind of sounds like it, and I would hope it wasn't. And
I have a feeling it is.
yeah, so do I. And his passion in it is telling me it is as well.
It's too real right now.
Yeah.
Like you can hear it in the inflection for that to be just
Hmm.
acting.
Yeah. Well, it's tough. You don't. Well, I don't know if he was in that if that was a foster home situation, and the mom says, I obviously, that she's going to come see him, then doesn't, and
Right.
then leaves him. And I mean, I've got a long story of that type of stuff. Not a foster home, but just dropped off here and dropped off there. And I
Right.
got to tell you, it's really tough on the kids because you're so well, you're afraid, partly because you don't know the rights and wrongs of that house, wherever it is you happen to be. If it's a family member, friend, you
Hmm.
you don't fit in. You don't feel, you don't want to intrude. You don't want to cause problems, and you just don't know how to fit in a.
Right.
But in a normal relationship with your parents, is you pretty much know, because you're raised in that relationship, and you're brought up through that.
Yeah.
But when you're crashing in at different ages and stuff, and especially when you hit the teenage years, it's difficult, because then you start becoming an opinionated teenager, and you become a little bit
Hmm.
rebellious and maybe resentful too as well. And I was blessed enough to find Christ. I was 13 years old, under a car, sleeping in a field in a rainstorm, because I didn't have anywhere to go. And I got to tell you, is my heart goes out to NF. If in fact that truly is, which I kind of believe it is as well, is part of his life story he's singing about, and to anybody that way. And love heals all wounds, so I will say that.
Yeah.
And for any of you, if anybody's listening who's in a situation something like this, even as a teenager or as an adult, you've gone through it, or if you've got kids and your kids are going through it because of your behavior, don't fear, just reestablish your relationship and stand strong. And kids, don't give up, because you can change everything. There is nothing you can't change. Doesn't matter what your parents did. You can overcome that. You don't have to be like your parent if that's that situation.
Right.
And you can pick a good role model that you'd like to be like. But good can come of it, and it'll make you tough. And I can tell you right now, it will make you tough. And I'm sure for DF, it's probably made him tougher as well.
All right, here we go.
Why would you leave us? Why would you leave us? How could you leave us? How could you leave us? Why would you leave us? I got this picture in my room and it kills me, but I don't need a picture of my mom, I need the real thing. Now a relationship is something we won't ever have, but why do I feel like I lost something that I never had? You should have been there when I graduated, told me you love me and congratulations. Instead you left us at the window waiting. Where you at, Mom? We're too young to understand. Where you at, huh? Yeah, I know them drugs that got you held captive. I can see it in your eyes, they got your mind captured. Some say it's fun to get the high, but I am not laughing. And what you don't realize and what you're not grasping, that I was nothing but a kid who couldn't understand it. I ain't gonna say that I forgive you, cause it hasn't happened. I thought that maybe I'd feel better as time passes. If you really cared for me, then where you at then? Why would you leave us? Why?
You know, it's funny because my mom, I'll share a personal bit, was an alcoholic, and she had lost a baby. My older sister had a twin brother, and he died of SIDS, which is sudden infant death syndrome, and they were like 2 years older than me, and that crashed relationship with my dad, and my mom, and just everything it was just a whole nightmare of things. I wasn't even born yet, but my dad hung around long enough for me to be born, and but I don't really remember him, and I met him a few times in my life. But my mom turned to alcohol, and then prescription drugs. And back in those days, it's prescription drugs, you get them from your doctor. And as I went through that, I mean, I saw the whole thing. I mean, I won't get into all the details, but I saw the whole thing. And I'll say this is what I did is how I always kept close to my mom. And even though if she was off somewhere and some guy or whatever it was, I always tried to keep in touch with her. And even when I was in the Marine Corps and I got home from boot camp, I went over, and the guy she was with, I couldn't stand. I won't say what I wanted to do, but it was a pretty tough relationship with that guy. And I had to align him a few times later on, and when I got big enough to be able to defend myself. And I'll say this is what how I came to a resolution with it is I thought, my mom paid a terrible price to teach me how not to live,
Right.
and how not to react to tragedy, and that there are better ways to react to it. And we don't know the whole story on what DF is saying about his mom. Maybe she's just decided, NF, excuse me. Maybe she decided to just be a drug addict or whatever in the song that he's portraying. I don't know if that's his mom or not, but because that happens. And but believe me, is when you're a child, if you can hang in there and then get over that hump and not become like your parent, if they're doing that type of thing,
right,
and become a good person, is your parent is the one who's really suffering. They're paying a price for the rest of their lives and for their life, and and you can rise above that. Certainly you can, and NF has as well. I mean, here he's got a music career, and if this is his personal story, and don't harbor anger and hate, and because that does nothing. It's corrosive. It's corrosive to the soul, and his song really touches on it, and actually touches me personally.
Yep. All right, here we go.
Why would you leave us? How could you leave us? How could you leave us? Why would you leave us? Our last conversation, you and I sat in the living room talking about my music, and I brought you something to listen to. You started crying, telling me this isn't you. A couple weeks later, guess you were singing a different tune. You took them pills for the last time, didn't you? They took you from us once, I guess they came back to finish you. Crying my eyes out in the studio is difficult. Music is the only place that I can go to speak to you. It took everything inside of me not to scream at your funeral. Sitting in my chair, that person talking was pitiful. I wish you were here, mama, but every time I picture you, all I feel is pain. I hate the way I remember you. They found you on the floor. I could tell you felt hollow. Gave everything you had, plus your life to them pill bottles. You gave everything you had, plus your life to them pill bottles. Don't know if you hear me or not, but if you're still watching, why? Why would you leave us? Why would you leave us? How could you leave us? How could you leave us? Why would you leave us? Sometimes I think about sometimes I think about things like, when I have kids and you won't be there, you won't be there for any of that. I'll never get to see you again. Sometimes I wish I would have just called you. I wish I would have just picked up the phone. I wish you were here. I mean, you should have been there for us. You should have been here. Pills got you right. And pills got you right. I wish you were here. And the photography here that he uses is especially in the car, his mom's laughing and they're laughing, and for all the sadness, is he still does have some good memories with his mom, obviously, and he still cares for his mom, and
Right.
But he recognized obviously what a waste it is to waste your life on drugs and the time that we have together, because that's a limited amount that we have. It's not eternal here on Earth, and
Right.
and I think that's what he really misses. But he's also thinking about his kids in the future, right? When I have kids, right? And he's thinking of the positive side. Is when I have kids, you're not going to be here, and but you just got to watch carrying around too much pain and grief, and because there's plenty of it, and and just remember the good. I know in my own circumstances, is my other three siblings are all older than me, the surviving ones, and they would basically have nothing to do with my mom because of it.
Right.
And I always did, and I always stuck kind of close just to keep an eye on it, because she's my mom.
Right.
And I've always been very family oriented, and I didn't hate her for it. It sure made it miserable, but it made me pretty damn tough, and which has worked out well as well, anyways.
Right.
And but that's tough, and the more I heard of this song that NF was singing is obviously it is his life, and I'm sorry that he had to suffer by it, and the other siblings, because there were two other siblings in this picture, I think, so there's three of them, and I would hope that they would still just get together and then give each other some support.
Right. All right, guys. If you like this one, comment down below, like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Semper Fi.